Hi and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and today I'm having a look at Unfathomable, which was recently, I think yesterday, announced by Fantasy Flight Games. And yeah, the idea of this video is to have a quick look at what has been shared so far, and also maybe give you a brief outlook if I would like it or not. But yeah, let's see about that. Fantasy Flight Games tweeted a series of tweets over the last couple of days, maybe weeks. I don't really know when exactly this has started. I have seen at least some of those, and a good friend of mine, Patrice, has made me aware, hey, there is something new coming in the Arkham horror files kind of line of games. Why don't you have a look, and what do you think it is? And relatively early on, he mentioned that he's believing one possibility would be a hidden loyalty, a traitor kind of game. And yeah, in the end, he was right, obviously. So yeah, let's see what we know here. I mean, the year is 1913. This is already tells us, okay, we are a little bit before the events of Arkham Horror, but I will come to that. We are dealing with the steamship SS Atlantica. What a nice name, nudge nudge. And yeah, its voyage across the Atlantic Ocean, its unsuspecting passengers fully anticipated a calm journey to Boston, Massachusetts, not even to Arkham actually, but I think Arkham doesn't have a real port, so I think maybe from Boston they would move to Arkham or Dunwich or whatever, with nothing out of the ordinary to look forward to. However, strange nightmares plague the minds of the people, and that was part of these tweets where someone is streaming, hey, who am I, whose father, whose mother, or so. And these kind of short messages led us to believe, yeah, this might be a hidden traitor or a traitor game. Okay, we are plagued by of the people aboard the ship every night. Rumors circulate of dark shapes following closely behind the ship just beneath the waves, and tensions rise when a body is discovered in the ship's chapel. Signs of a strange ritual littered around the corpse, and so on. And yeah, Fantasy Flight is thrilled to announce Unfathomable. And I really hope I'm not butchering this name. It's a pretty difficult name for a German fella. A brand new board game in the Arkham Horror Files universe. Okay, here I would be rather careful. Brand new is a bold move because, I mean, it says it here. This game design is based is based on a design by Corey, who was responsible for Battlestar Galactica here. And when I saw this and I thought, okay, maybe this could be a successor to Battlestar Galactica, again, one of my top 10 games of all times, I said, why not? Maybe, again, it gives some other folks the possibility to explore the cool mechanics about this without spending hundreds of, or not thousands of dollars for all the expansion. I think for a full set today, you can easily pay $1,000, $1,500 if you really want all the expansions, that is. So ultimately, I think, okay, maybe that's not a bad thing. Then I started to look at this board, and I already, when I saw the cover for the first time, I thought, okay, maybe instead of Silent Raiders, we are talking about Deep Ones here. And haha, what do we see here? Deep Ones that are basically moving around the board here, around the Battlestar Galactica, or the SS Atlantica in this case. Again, nice one, actually. So this looks fairly familiar to me. That's okay. I mean, yeah, you cannot have Vipers launching now in 1912, obviously, that's what it is. But also makes me think, okay, it's not so brand new. Let's put it like this. Ultimately, yes, we are talking about traitors, so we have a loyalty deck, it seems, and these are the two loyalty cards here. You are human, you are a hybrid. When you look at it, the one thing that at least crossed my mind is, okay, if I am a hybrid, I am pretty clearly told what I need to do. Yeah, if I win the game when the humans lose, which is pretty much the same deal as when playing Battlestar Galactica. But it also showed me, hey, there is no special ability on these cards. On the Cylon loyalty cards in Battlestar Galactica, you always had a very unique thing to do, which when you would reveal yourself, for example. That's at least not coming from these cards here, but I think we might be able to cover that a little bit later. And yeah, ultimately, I mean, this could be a good thing, because that's for, let's say, a somewhat more inexperienced player. You have to read your card and you have to understand your card. And if you read too long, then everyone knows, hey, you are the Cylon. In this case, you just see the dark gray, okay, I'm a hybrid, I can basically forget about it and yeah, have play it my way, I'm a hybrid. for the rest of this game here. So that's, I think, a good thing. Of course, we are losing some of the intricacies of, let's say, having a little bit more variety. So you're a whatever Cylon with this ability or with that ability, which also could come back to haunt you or bite you in your behind, because a lot of, or some of those Cylon loyalty cards in Battlestar Galactica were terrible rubbish, really not worth mentioning. And sometimes it's very dependent on the current situation. Sometimes you had this ability, but you could play it or not, it didn't really change a thing, or maybe, yeah, it was not really that damaging. Where on the other hand, there could be gruesome effects for human players in these things. But yeah, that's, I think, a pretty neutral approach on that. So I think I could like that. That's okay. Speaking about the artwork here, I think everything is fine on these cards here. I really love the 1912 kind of style here on these cards. I think that's a job relatively well done. But then I stumbled upon those two. I think it's no longer Crisis cards. These are now, I think, typical Mythos cards. I think these are Mythos cards now. And I think these are the most dull-looking cards in a board game, actually. It reminds me of a, what was this one? This D&D dungeon crawler game. I keep forgetting. With also no real artwork on it, only text, but also so generic test. I mean, water is rushing into one of the ship's compartments through a puncture in the hull. There's a precious little time to make repairs. Okay. So there is no artwork on these cards here. And Fantasy Flight has a ton of artwork for their Arkham files. I understand they didn't want to simply reuse stuff. Maybe there were legal issues or, I don't know, licensing issues. I don't know these things. But these cards are really looking bland. Again, the iconography and everything here, so the typeface and this all looks nice here. I mean, this is something I would really enjoy. And then basically, from what they're doing, it's pretty much the standard stuff compared to Battlestar Galactica. You have a skill check with a difficulty of 9. I think these are the two abilities that you would be able to use. I think that's strength and observation. And there is a skill deck. I think that's, at least from what I understand, that's also pretty standard. And here we have a standard event card where, in this case, the captain would make a choice to either lose a food or roll a die. That's a pretty standard card for a Battlestar Galactica player here. So that's pretty much the same thing. Then I read this little sentence here. Because of this game features a full cast of brand new playable characters, each of which has never been seen in the Arkham universe before. Here they make it sound like this would be a good thing. Personally, I think that was a very poor design decision. For whatever reason, they chose to not use all the cool characters which we learned to love over the last, I don't know, nearly 20 years now for Arkham Horror, 15 years, I don't know, I think 15 years. Which keep reappearing in all the reinstallments of the series. Let's take a Silas, for example. Let's take a Harvey Walters. Let's take Ashken Pete, this dog. Why are those characters not in this game here? Why have they decided to go with Kaylani Tatupu, which seems to be a female captain? I'm all in favor for doing these kind of things. I really like it. The artwork for her, a bit weird, but that's only me. Apart from that, that's a cool thing, don't get me wrong. But why they have chosen to really say, let's start with a fresh new lineup here, I have no clue. I would really have loved to play as Harvey Walters, and maybe as a traitorous Harvey Walters, or again Ashken Pete and all those cool characters in the game. And really, I have basically played all of those. I think the only exception here, I really have to embarrass myself a little bit, I've never played the card game. Arkham Horror, the card game. So yeah, convince me otherwise. I have a good friend of mine. She is a huge fan and she keeps pushing me. Hey, let's try it out. There are now these preset decks. Let's try it out. I'm pretty sure I will, but I have never really invested in that game. But that's a different story. And then we can also look at the, let's take the characters aside for now. We see, I think, which skill cards we are getting. So in this case, she seems to be strong in influence, maybe not so strong in will, but I think that's her strong thing here. And the backstory makes sense for this influence. I think, again, I totally buy that. And then, yeah, we see basically an ongoing bonus effect after skill cards. Like she's experienced after skill cards are revealed during a skill check. If you are not in the brick, you may add one skill card from your hand to the check. That's okay. It's pretty much a reskin, so don't expect too much innovation in this game. I really hope we are seeing some more cool features, and I'm also all in for streamlining certain things. So don't get me wrong, I don't want this to be a cluttered mess. Battlestar Galactica can be with all of the expansions, at least for new players. If you know the game, then you will typically be okay after a couple of sessions. But I get it, they want to make things easier, so streamlining is a good thing. But yeah, and then we are coming down to the demoralize effect. So normally in Battlestar Galactica, each character had one ongoing ability or a special action or so. Then they had a one-time use action, which they could typically use once per game. With later expansions, you could then reload those things. And a newer version of Gaius Baltar was exceptionally capable of reusing these things. And we always had a penalty effect. And it seems here we don't really have a penalty effect. No, here you get basically your ability, what will happen when you reveal yourself as a traitor. And that is a good thing, because you are constantly looking at your player board, so you don't need to mess with your loyalty card at the start of the game where everyone looks at them. And typically what we do, we say, okay, everyone gets whatever, 30 seconds, a minute to look at that card, and we all look at this at the same time, because if you are not a Cylon, you look at it, not a Cylon, you put it away. If you are a Cylon, you have to read it. And everyone knows, hey, what are you reading so long? That's why we said, okay, everyone has, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and we all lay them down at the same time. Here you don't need to do these things. At least it seems right now I only have this character here, but it seems they all come with a special reveal effect. In this case, when she is revealing as a traitor, and if you're not in a brick, we will lose 1 sanity. And sanity seems to be one of the 4 resources that will make the human players or the non-traitor players lose this game. Ultimately, you are trying to reach Boston. You have to go through this jump preparation track too. I think that would be relatively similar. For example, then I know there is food in one of those cards. We see that sanity is one of the things. Maybe fuel could be one of the other things. And then I think we are already through. So I think, again, pretty standard stuff in respect for when you compare it to Battlestar Galactica. Apart from that, they are also showcasing some of the backs here from some of those cards, and this looks gorgeous. I really agree. I think they mention it here. It's really gorgeous art, at least for the backsides of those cards, and I agree. I like these a lot. These are nice. That's unfortunately it what I can share. Pretty sure there are other YouTubers out who know more or got more information, or something has been leaked somewhere else. I don't know, but that's all I know from public information here, and I wanted to really use the public information that's available. Again, my main hope for this game is that it will have some unique mechanics, so that you can really say, because right now when I look at this, I have Battlestar Galactica, a lot of my friends have Battlestar Galacticas, we are all fans of the show, so when this is a pure reskin with really minor adjustments, for me there would be no reason to play this game. Maybe it's quicker for what it is, then maybe yes, okay, this could be a case for this game if you can really play it in 2-3 hours instead of up to 4-5 hours sometimes. Depends a little bit on your group. That could be one of the things. Maybe they have really found a way to make this game work much faster than Battlestar Galactica. But if that's it, these subtle changes which I've seen and maybe the playing time, then I don't know if this would be a game for me. So here I really hope they have or are introducing some mechanics which make this game somewhat unique. And because I really was all for it. I do remember when first expansions for Eldritch Horror came up, the first thing I said to a lot of my friends, oh, I so hope to get an expansion which would add a traitor mechanic to Eldritch Horror, or maybe Arkham Horror 2nd edition or the 3rd edition. This would have felt really, really cool. I would enjoy this a big deal. Yes, I know this could be a major endeavor, taking Eldritch Horror and inducing a traitor, because it's already a difficult game, so you're typically losing it way more often than you win this game. And if you add a traitor, things would get even more messy or more difficult. But still, I think might be doable. So I was always hoping for that. And honestly, I don't know, maybe there is fan-made variants out there, but I was hoping for that. I discussed this with a friend of mine, and she also said, would be also cool if this would have been a reskin of Fury of Dracula, for example. So whatever, one is playing Cthulhu, Dagon, or whatever against a set of investigators, which would also have worked. This is something which I say, yeah, this is a reskin which I would like. I'm a huge fan of Fury of Dracula, as some of you might know. So here I would say I would for the theme alone, I would totally go in there. And here the theme, because they are not using the characters I'm used to from the Eldritch Horror, Arkham Horror universe, I don't really have a theme. I know, okay, it's related to H.P. Lovecraft. And sorry, I had to stop Siri at this point. Sorry for that. So where was I? Yeah, so here, basically, they're not even giving me the theme. It means it's H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, that's cool. And I like the stories of H.P. Lovecraft. So let's not go too involved into that. So some of his stories are really great, and I still like to read those. But then I would really have loved or embraced the opportunity to play the characters, which I also really, some of those grew very dear to me over the last couple of years. So I'm always happy. I mean, we are playing with random characters typically in an Eldritch Horror session. I'm always happy when I see Harvey Walters. If I get 2 characters and get to pick one, I will go for Harvey Walters, for example. That's pretty much set. And a friend of mine using Silas, for example, or Silas. This is a missed opportunity for me here. They didn't offer this, and I don't know why they did it. So the theme alone, H.P. Lovecraft, maybe, but that's then really not strong enough for me. But yeah, really curious to hear what you guys think of this game. I am tracking some of the entries on BGG. I look at Twitter and some of the tweets. I think right now it's pretty mixed. Some are very excited, but Twitter is very excited about upcoming board games. Pretty unreflected. Some of those are more critical. Again, I cannot really say I'm on the edge right now. I really need to see a little bit more. But again, especially the poor artwork on those event cards here, on those cards, is something that's, I could live with that. It's not the worst thing in the world. But for me, the big downer was to see that, okay, we wouldn't see any characters we are familiar with. But yeah, still curious to hear from you guys what you think, and hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. Before I forget, huge shout out to all of my patrons out there. Really, really do appreciate all your support. If you want to support the show, you will find a link to my page on Patreon. You can join me here on YouTube, like and subscribe. This always helps. And yeah, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And I'm pretty sure I should be able to complete my solo playthrough of Battlestar Galactica within the next couple of days too. Okay, hope to see you soon. And until then, bye bye.